Good evening, guys. Welcome back to the Front Office Report. I'm here with Daniel. We are going to have a little chat about my Clippers falling, unfortunately, to the Phoenix Suns in game one. A very close game. And
Very close.
I think, a fantastic advertisement for the NBA because it was like the whole way through, wire to wire. They had a little run, then Clippers came back. It was just incredible.
Yeah, if you weren't watching at the start, you were watching the last 2 minutes for sure. There were times where I was like, I went away to do stuff and then I checked the score. And I was like, okay, I need to go back and watch this game again.
I can't be missing any more of that.
Yeah.
I think the player of the game has to be Devin Booker. I mean,
absolutely.
This is this kid's first ever playoff run, and he is going nuts. His first ever triple-double in his career to overcome the Clippers. 40 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. I mean, this guy, what is the ceiling for Devin Booker, realistically speaking?
Isn't it kind of crazy that he got 70 points before he got a triple-double there?
That's wild.
I was really like when they're saying on the broadcast like this is his first triple double. I was like, really? I thought this guy would have had like
shocked by that.
A couple at least, because you know triple doubles nowadays. Russell Westbrook gets one every game. James Harden gets one every game. You know, it's not a big deal anymore.
They're not the difficulty that they used to be.
Absolutely. Because you know, point guards and shooting guards play that like utility position where they do everything for the team now. But as for his ceiling, I don't think there is one. I
did see on First Take, Stephen A. Smith has said he's the new Kobe Bryant.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because he hasn't won a championship and he hasn't got anywhere near Kobe's legacy. I don't really like comparisons when people are so young and haven't done anything near to what another I hate like this is the next LeBron James, this is the next Michael Jordan, this and that. There's no next anything. It's just they are who they are, and Devin Booker is an amazing shooter like Kobe is, or Kobe was.
I think
like,
you can sort of see comparisons in the play style. And I think scoring wise, I mean Kobe could rack them up when he wanted to as well, couldn't he?
So Devin Booker doesn't have a ceiling because he's so young. I was always worried like, okay, what happens once, you know, Dwayne Wade and Chris Paul and LeBron James and all these guys have like moved on. Who's the next crop? And we have like Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Devin Booker. We have some amazing dudes coming through. It's super, super exciting. But the sky's the limit for Devin Booker. If he can make it to the finals by beating the Clippers, I mean, this is the next super team. I really do think the Suns are the next super team because, you know, Chris Paul is there, an amazing, amazing player, but I don't think he's going to be there much longer. And that is going to free up a lot of cap space. Whoever wants to go there can go there. I can envision, we talked about in an earlier episode, Damian Lillard perhaps going to Philadelphia. Imagine Damian Lillard in Phoenix. That would be off the charts.
I mean, I'm not sure how much defense is being played there.
No. Just like, all offense.
They'll score 150 every night, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, he was incredible. He was absolutely incredible. He was just taking them wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted. No one could really stop him guarding him. Even though I thought Terrence Mann, Pat Bev, quite a few possessions were sticking pretty damn close to him and were guarding him well. As they always say, good offense beats good defense.
Definitely.
He was just going wild. I think, and I'm going to come back to it again because I keep coming back to this whenever we talk the Clippers. Playoff P. The whole pandemic P name it has to be gone. It has to be gone. This guy, another incredible performance without Kawhi playing. I think it was actually you that brought up in our sort of group chat. When PG is the sole sort of star as such, it does seem as though he performs better.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right.
I think it puts sort of the Clips in a difficult position because obviously they made that big trade to sign Paul George. I personally, I don't think we need to be getting rid of him anytime soon.
No.
But you could sort of argue that, if you're seeing this disparity between the performances when he's sort of on his own with Kawhi resting or injured versus when Kawhi is back in the team, do you possibly need to have a look at
Yeah.
a different second star.
It's
And
interesting because I think once Kawhi comes back, then your question will be answered. Because I don't know if this is just a phase or what. Because it would be really nice if Kawhi came back and Paul George just still played as Paul George is playing right now. You don't want him to revert back to, the meme George, if you will, where everyone's just completely piling onto him after every single game because he's not shooting like he's supposed to be shooting. I think Kawhi adds a very interesting dynamic when he comes back because I would imagine Kawhi will go on Devin Booker. And I imagine that Devin Booker's stats will take a huge hit once Kawhi comes back, but that's just me.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it could continue, but who knows? Because, Kawhi, do we really know what Kawhi's dealing with? Because like 1 minute it's ACL, 1 minute's a strain, 1 minute, the reports are very conflicting.
Yeah, I think the Clippers have confirmed he will be at least out for game 1 and 2.
Okay.
I think they said it was an ACL injury, but I don't think they've confirmed what exactly it is. I imagine the fact that they've not just said he's done for the season
it's interesting.
Shows that it's something that could be rehabbed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a peculiar one because you don't often get these sort of
it's worrying.
Injured, you might come back. Yeah, it's concerning. Yeah.
If I'm not a Clippers fan by any means, but I know when he comes back, every time he touches the ball, I'm gonna be like, and he falls over, I'm like, is that his knee? Is that him done for the year? Like, is he done for next season too? Like, it's gonna be. It's one of those things the Clippers have to think like, do we risk it all for a win now scenario, or do we let this kind of like ride and like
play
next year might be our year? Like it's kind of like, to me, one of those.
Yeah, I mean, even you've seen sort of two series in a row now. The Clips have gone down 2-0. And been able to pull it back and come through.
So you're saying tonight they're gonna lose?
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if we do take the L again and it goes down to 2-0, whether that sort of forces the hand of the Clippers backroom staff and they say, look, we need to get Kawhi in for game 3, or even whether we roll the dice for game 3 and say, okay, we're still in the series even if we lose it. Could we see the first 3-0 comeback? I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Against the Suns team, I think it really, if Chris Paul comes back before Kawhi Leonard does, I really think the Clippers are in a really bad position. Just because, like, what do you do at that point? Like, there's another superstar coming when you just lost. Like, it's really difficult. And I think that's I guess game 3 and game 4 will be really, really interesting because two superstars may just appear.
Even just to see who turns up.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
I think, again, some of the Clippers' struggles from last night. I think the starting 5 again were all, apart from Marcus Morris, who had a struggle shooting. I think he was a bit of an issue for us. Other than that, everyone else was a plus, in the plus minus.
Yeah.
Rajon Rondo, we have to discuss because he has been absolute trash. There's no two ways about it. He was brought in, obviously they made the trade with the Hawks for Lou Will. I think at the time, although Lou Will has possibly become like a Clippers legend with some of his performances, and obviously he won the multiple Sixth Man of the Year. It was difficult to see Lou go, but I could see the sort of
the need
thinking behind it. Playoff Rondo, etc. Unfortunately, playoff Rondo has not turned up. He's been pretty abysmal. He's averaging 4.3 points, 4.2 assists, 2.8 rebounds. I mean, that's
like a Ben Simmons stat line.
Yeah, it's pretty much. And he's not even 6'11". I mean, come on now. He's hit like a few threes here and there, but he's been really inconsistent. Even like for a man who's generally quite good at keeping hold of the ball, I think he's had a few sort of poor turnovers here and there. So I think we really need to have a look at that. I mean, do we potentially get some minutes for a Yogi Ferrell instead of Rajon Rondo? I mean, it's a difficult position, and I think this was something that the Clips had sort of coming into the playoffs, which is why they made the trade. Our guard depth was not fantastic. I think we've been lucky in the fact that Pat Bev, for sort of the last 3, sort of the end of the last series and coming into this, he's actually performed pretty well. So whether we sort of drop Rajon out the rotation, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I think, if I was a Clippers fan, I would really regret trading away Lou Williams. That guy just off the bench gets your team back in the game. Like instantly. Playing against the second unit is always, whether it was for the Clippers, whether it was for the Rockets, whether it's for the Hawks now, he's always the dude to be like, okay, I'm gonna get 12 points in this quarter, and the team is gonna be right back in the game. Rajon Rondo just doesn't. I got why you traded for him, because in the playoffs last year, he did really well, but it's also the pandemic playoffs where there's no fans, there's no pressure. There's only like 20 people watching you, and they're all teammates and other coaches. Like it's
family and stuff.
It's really weird. So I always took like the playoffs from last year with like a pinch of salt. Like that's why I think you see the true Lakers this year bounce the first round compared to champions last year. I think I don't like Rajon Rondo as a player. He was a great player, but I think just Father Time's caught up with him, and he's just slowing down.
Yeah, I don't think we will be bringing him back. Let's put it that way.
No, I don't think so.
I think again a lot of props as well to Reggie Jackson, who
he's been fantastic.
He's been unbelievable,
I like him a lot.
Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, talk about like a comparison between two LA point guards. I think of the sort of between Reggie Jackson and Dennis Schroeder coming into this season, Dennis Schroeder was being hyped up as sort of being the point guard to push the Lakers to the next level and all that. Reggie Jackson, quite unheralded for the Clippers. And then if you compare sort of their trajectory during the seasons, Dennis Schroeder from declining $84 million, hoping he's going to get 100 mil. I'd be surprised if he gets 10% of that.
I know.
Schroeder, I want to say that this is his last contracted year for the Clippers. We could be priced out of bringing him back, because he's been outstanding for us. 17 points, a steal a game, 3.5 assists, 3 rebounds. I think his 3-point percentage is up at 42%. Like he's honestly been, with sort of Kawhi out, he's been our second best player.
For sure.
George, I would say.
Yeah. And the one thing that really annoys me when I watch the Clippers play though is when Morris goes ISO. So the beginning of the game last night, I think 3 times he did it with his step back threes, and I'm just like, wait, is this James Harden or is this, Morris trying to, and it just like clanks the iron every single time. And I'm like, why do the Clippers need, if I feel as though it's like they need to go down 10-0 or 10-2 every single game to be like, oh shit, we need to start playing now, because we're going to get like absolutely smashed if this, like if I'm Paul George, I'm like, give it to me for the first like 3 possessions. Let me get hot. Let me get going. Get me those 6 to 10 points. And let's go. But it's like, it just drives me insane. And I'm not even a Clippers fan.
How do you think I feel?
Yeah, exactly.
I think we had, as you said, we had those sort of few Marcus Morris possessions. And I think PG was sort of like, okay, I'm going to take the rock now. And he did rattle off like a good few possessions in a row.
Just he had a couple 3-pointers. It was really nice.
He got quite hot. I don't think we can't sort of ignore the rest time compared to 2 teams. The last time prior to last night that the Suns played was a week ago.
Yeah, crazy.
Whereas the Clippers were playing again after about 38 hours, I think it was, or something like that. So
that's the blessing of a sweep, man. That's the blessing.
Yeah, if only we'd decided to do a little bit of that, which is fair enough. They've earned that rest because they won 4 games in a row.
The Clippers just like doing it the difficult way. 7 games.
Yeah, we're here for the entertainment. We're doing it for the fans, man. It's all about the fans. I think it would be interesting to see maybe with the guys being a bit more rested how they get on. But I think the fact that they managed to keep it close pretty much the whole game until the last 30 seconds or something like that. I think Booker got that
solid
done,
performance,
and then that was sort of that. But it was a fantastic game. I think there's going to be a really close series. I think it depends on the whole CP Kawhi status.
I definitely think so.
If Chris Paul comes back and Kawhi does not, I will be concerned.
Suns in 4.
Hopefully not. If Kawhi comes back as well, I could see this being a really good series.
I hope so.
I mean, I'm not sure. We haven't really talked about this. Who you taking in this series?
I'm going Suns just because the Clippers have so many questions with Kawhi being out. I think the Suns
Yeah.
can win without Chris Paul, but I'm unsure the Clippers can beat this specific team without Kawhi. You know, the Jazz and the Suns are two very different beasts. The Jazz are
Yeah.
historically very, very poor in the playoffs. They
Yeah.
always seem to get bounced by the bigger teams. Suns are
Mm.
someone like, they have no fear. They're kind of like Atlanta
No.
Hawks. They have no playoff experience. They're just coming in here having
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no
Just balling, yeah.
expectation. There's no
Yeah.
expectation. Whereas with the Clippers, it's like the fans, it's championship or bust. It was the same with the Brooklyn
Yeah.
Nets, championship or bust. LA Lakers, championship or bust. But with Atlanta and the Phoenix Suns, it's like, let's enjoy the ride.
No pressure. Yeah, just
There's
no pressure. Going out,
We have
playing ball.
yeah, because Trae Young and Devin Booker are so young. There's no time limit. Whereas with Kawhi and Paul George, it's like, okay, like the clock's
clock is
ticking. Let's
ticking.
go, boys.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on, we got to get a championship. So yeah, I mean, I'm taking Suns in 7. I do think Clippers, game 3 and game 4. I hope Kawhi comes back, and I think they take those 2 games. But I think it just ends up in Phoenix. Game 7, they managed to pull it out. But
yeah, I mean, as I say, I think you're totally right. It totally depends on Kawhi. I think if Kawhi doesn't come back, yeah, we're going to struggle unless PG really does sort of keep this level going and we get a bit more help from sort of our 3rd or 4th guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Kawhi's back, I could see it going to a game 7 and who knows what happens in a game 7.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we've seen Kawhi do it in a game 7 to win a series with the last bucket before.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But that's the worst part about this 2021 playoffs is that injuries are really impacting it. You saw it with the Brooklyn Nets, and you're seeing it with the Clippers and the Suns now. It's like we're not seeing the teams at full strength playing each other. We're seeing which team's the healthiest, and that team will win. You saw, I think Brooklyn Nets, if they have Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, that's 5 games, 6 game series.
Yeah,
Brooklyn win. And you don't. Harden's injured, Kyrie's injured, Bucks in 7. And I think that's the same. That's the same with this. It's going to be like, which team's the healthiest? Does Kawhi come back and get re-injured? Does Kawhi come back at all? Does Chris Paul come back injured, or is he going to be perfect? Like, it's really that simple. Whereas which team is going to be the healthiest? And I think whichever team is the healthiest wins.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like hearing us ramble about sports, feel free to subscribe at the top right, check out the next videos on the left, and feel free to leave us a like at the bottom. Thank you guys for watching.